Islam.
First I rise to my highest heights, giving all praises due to Allah. I give honors to all true and divine prophets, including Jesus, Mohammed, Buddha, Confucius, and the prophet of these days and times, our prophet Noble Drew Ali. I extend those honors to all Asiatics present and worldwide. I'm Sheik Amir Talib-EL, chairman here at Temple 21-3. Peace. Islam Moors. So, one of the things is, with my demonstrations, I have like a number of things that I could have talked about. So, some Sundays, like today, I don't even know which one of them I was going to choose from. I just kind of feel, I feel the energy, I just feel the spirit, which way I should go, based on the energy. And sometimes the prior Sheik's demonstrations assist me. So this demonstration, what I want to do is speak on the Prophet Muhammad, because Islam itself is the world's, in terms of the world major religions, Islam is the #1 misunderstood religion worldwide.
Islam.
And Prophet Muhammad, being the founder of the Uniting of Islam, is one of the most misunderstood figures in human history. So we're going to touch on a couple of basics real quick, and from those basics, we're going to go into some in-depth discussion. All right, so let's get some of the basic information out of the way first. Muhammad was born in the year 570 AD in what we refer to now as modern-day Mecca, Arabia. Okay? So this is, for those who are not really familiar with the calendars, this is the Gregorian calendar. This is supposed to be 570 years after the crucifixion of the Prophet Jesus. So he transcended, or what people refer to in colloquial tongue, he passed away on June 8th, 632, okay? So at that, he's about the age of 62 years old when he passes away. His life is why there are almost 2 billion Muslims on planet Earth. The human population is about 7 billion, okay? So suffice to say that he had a profound impact on humanity. So his profession, as a young man, he was a merchant. He was a trader. He was also a family man, and he received divine revelation at a later stage in his life, or according to the narrative, and was guided to become a prophet who became the founder of the Uniting of Islam. So he descended from the leading tribe within Mecca, known as the Quraysh tribe. Y'all just gotta work with me, boys. We're getting certain basic facts out the way, because I'm not gonna be just quoting verses from the Quran to you. I'm not just gonna be, preaching the gospel of Muhammad. We're just getting the facts about his life, and then we're gonna talk about historical context, all right? So the Quraysh tribe descend from Kedar, who's mentioned in the book of Genesis. Kedar was one of the sons of Ishmael. So when you understand the genealogy of Jesus, you understand that he comes from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Well, the descendant of Ishmael, or should I say Kedar, comes from Abraham, Ishmael, and then comes Kedar. Okay? One of the sons of Ishmael. So Ishmael was the son of Abraham and the older brother of Isaac, just so we can kind of put these things in context. They had different mothers. Sarah was Isaac's mother and Abraham's wife, and Hagar was the mother of Ishmael and was a bondmaid or a slave of the family. So, you have to go into the book of Genesis to get that narrative. I don't want to focus on that. Just giving you the lineage of the Prophet Muhammad. So Kedar, in the Semitic tongues means dark. So the inhabitants and descendants of Kedar, the inhabitants of the original inhabitants of the Arabian Peninsula, were dark-skinned people. So I'm gonna just give a couple of pictures that the Grand Sheik had provided to give you an idea of what an Arab looks like. Okay, so I guess I'll just work with the first 3 images. or 2 images, because they have names on them in references. So the first one I'm going to give to the Sheik. It says it's called the Arabs preparing barley to make grain, because you have to. Well, I don't need to break that down the grain making process, but as you can see, this brother right here is a very dark-skinned individual, and he's referred to as an Arab making grain. All right, now photographic technology was innovated in the 1800s, okay? So this is not an ancient picture. This tells you that they are there today. The dark-skinned Arabs are there today, all right? Also, please try to give it an image for the camera too, just to pass by. This one is some brothers from Saudi Arabia. So as you can see, dark-skinned, woolly hair. All right, so when we're talking about an Arab, when we're talking about Prophet Muhammad's lineage, we're talking about a dark-skinned people. We're not talking about the pale-skinned Arab that inhabits and rules in the Arabian Peninsula today. All right, this is many centuries prior to the current time. All right, so moving on. So understand that Arabia is Northeast Africa. Geographically, geologically, it's Northeast Africa. It shares a tectonic plate on the continent of Africa. It's Africa. Much of the Arabian tribes were in a state of what they refer to in Arabic as Jahiliyyah, right? My Arabic pronunciation is horrible, but you'll understand what I mean if you're familiar with the terms. So Jahiliyyah is basically like a state of ignorance. In the Arabian Peninsula during that time, with many tribes, Muhammad descending from one of them, but he specifically was a Hanif. And the Hanif were they worshiped the one God. You know what I mean? They followed the religion of Abraham. That's right. So, but many inhabitants of the Arabian Peninsula worshipped idols. Okay? So idol worship and warfare between the tribes were the status quo prior to the coming of Prophet Muhammad around that year 570 AD. The tribes that were in the Arabian Peninsula, they were at war with one another, and they were worshiping idols. They were polytheists. All right? So Prophet Muhammad ended the wars with these tribes. He not only did he end the war with the tribes, he destroyed the idols, but many people don't mention the fact that he spared the leaders of the tribes that were at war with him as a diplomatic tool. So why am I saying all of this? Why am I going to Prophet Muhammad? What's my demonstration about? He's primarily looked upon as a spiritual leader. But he was one of the most significant political leaders in the history of all of mankind. He was a diplomat. Okay? He used communication through envoys, ambassadors, letters, treaties, and on occasions, he would make personal visits, such as the condition at Taif. So, people attempt to dismiss leaders like Prophet Muhammad, like Prophet Noble Ali, even like Prophet Moses, because they were spiritual or religious primarily. And they neglect to realize how significant their political leadership was to their contribution to humanity. So the first thing I want to talk about is he practiced what's known in Arabic as shura, which is consultation, right? Can somebody get me the big Quran of Mecca? Can I have Surah 2, Ayat 233, please? First one to get it. So shura, so he consulted other people. Prophet Muhammad wasn't a spiritual leader who just made all the decisions on his own. I talked to God, God told me what we're supposed to do, and all y'all have to follow me. That wasn't who the figure known as Prophet Muhammad was. So we're going to talk about who he was and who he wasn't. Islam.
The mothers shall give suck to their children for 2 full years. This instruction is for him who desires to complete the period of suckling, and it is incumbent on the man to whom the child is born, the father, to provide them, the mothers, the usual maintenance and their clothing for this period equitably. And according to usage, no soul is charged with a duty except to its capacity. Neither shall a mother be made to suffer on account of her love for her child, nor shall he to whom the child is born on account of his child. The father's heir has a like duty. However, if mother and father both desire weaning by mutual consent and consultation.
Stop right there.
Islam.
So this is an example that, because a lot of people think that in Islam, men just do whatever they want to do and women just have to obey. But right here, we're getting an example of shura within the family home. That the man is to, when there's a issue, whatever, they have to consult one another. The man is supposed to consult his woman. He's not the dictator or the despot or the tyrant that rules over his household. That's not Islam. So this is another example of the misunderstandings of what Islam is and what Islam is not. But just finish off that statement. The whole part that he's talking about, it was the consultation part I wanted to get to, but you can get the context by hearing the entire verse. But just finish it out, please.
Islam. Then there is no blame on either of them. And if you desire to provide a wet nurse for your children, there is no blame on you, provided you hand over what you have agreed to pay equitably. And in accordance...
That's pretty much...
And in accordance with popular usage, and keep your duty to Allah, and know that Allah is seer of what you do. Islam.
Islam, appreciate you more. Now don't go nowhere yet. Let me get Surah 42, Ayat 38. Surah means chapter, Ayat means verse in Arabic.
Islam.
So Surah 42. Now Surah 42 is the chapter is called Shura, which is what we're talking about, which is the consultation. So that's the name of the chapter. The chapter translates the consultation.
Islam.
Islam.
And those who respond to their Lord and observe prayer, and whose affairs are decided by mutual consultation, and who go on spending in our cause out of what we have provided for them. Islam.
Islam.
So as he said, and those who respond to their Lord and observe prayer, and again, this is talking about what a faithful, a good Muslim will be doing. Observe prayer, and whose affairs are decided by mutual consultation. You see? So that mutual consultation is a skill that Muslims are supposed to possess that enable us to be ones of peace, for us to enable us to live in peace and in accord with one another without conflict and violence. If I come to you as a man, or if I come to you, or if a woman comes to you as a woman, and they state, their position, and you state yours, and you operate under certain principles. Namely, for us, those 5 principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, you can come to an accord that's amicable between both parties, that's satisfactory to both parties, without conflict. Because you know automatically off that first principle of love, what nature they coming to you in under. Islam? Let me get one more verse out of the Quran. Can I have Surah 3, verse 159, just to drive home this point of consultation? Because this becomes the tool by which Prophet Mohammed and his ambassadors and those he sent on his behalf to political leaders throughout the region to invite them into Islam.
Islam. Surah 3, Ayah 159.
Yes.
So, O Prophet, it is owing to the great mercy of Allah, and you are gentle towards them. Had you been harsh, hard-hearted, they would have certainly dispersed from around you. Hence pardon them and ask protection for them, and consult them in matters of administration. And when you are determined...
Slow it down. Rewind that a little bit. Go back a little bit.
Islam.
I don't want y'all to miss that.
Islam.
This is the point of us citing this. Go for that one.
Hence, pardon them and ask protection for them, and consult them in matters of administration. And when you are determined after due consultation Put your trust in Allah. Verily Allah loves those who put their trust in Him. Islam.
May I see that for a second? So it says, that for him not to be, for a Muslim not to be harsh, hard-hearted, they would have certainly dispersed from around you. Meaning that, you know, if you had a certain kind of attitude, people are not going to rock with you. Right? So even when they transgress against you, it says, hence pardon them and ask protection for them. Now this particular aspect is very important when we're going to get later on in the demonstration. Remember that part that I said, pardon and ask for protection. Because remember, these tribes were at war with one another. And at the conclusion of the conflict, Prophet Muhammad pardons the leaders, the chieftains, the sheiks of those tribes. And after he asked for protection for them, in case of his leadership, that they must be protected, to consult them in matters of administration. What is administration? What he's talking about? Government, governing. The same people you had a conflict with, to go to them and consult them in terms of how to lead. Is this the picture that Western media, that Western scholars portray of Islam, of the Prophet Muhammad? Or is it that they just went across Arabia with the sword, and they went across North Africa with the sword, and then they went into Europe with the sword? Islam, I'm gonna actually have the Grand Sheik kind of go into this, because he's provided one of the
it's something you gotta just read. It goes along with the demonstration.
Okay. I'm gonna get to that in reference. Okay, because that's actually, I might even have this actually, but we're gonna yeah. So just the consultation aspect. Thank you, Mo. Just the consultation aspect of it, because again, that's diplomacy. See, Prophet Muhammad operated under diplomacy, and that's how he was able to garner so much support. See, what y'all looking at him is like he's just some religious leader. He was a revolutionary. What was Arabia looking like at that time? What was North Africa looking like at that time? What were our ancestors enduring and going through at that time? You see the Roman, matter of fact, you know what? Let's talk to the prophet real quick, man. Let's talk. Let's hear the prophet's voice real quick. Can I get chapter 46 in the Moorish Quran, verses 1 through 4? Because the prophet gives this history, and I'm gonna break it down. I want y'all Moors to work with me, man. 46. Chapter 46, verse 1 to 4. Getting Christian.
Islam. Divine instructions from the Holy Prophet, chapter 46, the beginning of Christianity, instruction 1. The foundation of Christianity began in Rome. The Roman nations founded the first church, of whom crucified Jesus of Nazareth for seeking to redeem his people from under the Roman yoke and law.
Hold that right there. That's profound right there. Because the same type of accusations that Christianity lobbies towards Islam, we see right here in the first verse, which we can find corroborated in the Bible. I'm not going to go through it because we already know that it was the Romans who crucified Jesus. Okay? And the founders of the first church that established and called themselves Christians was the Roman Catholic Church. Okay? So they crucified him because he wasn't following the ways of the Roman people, only for it to later be adopted under a ruler named Constantine. Okay? And then now, if you were under Christianity, you were crucified, tortured, and killed. You were, well, we're going to get into that. We're going to get into that. But again, Christianity was spread through a sword. That is a fact of history. We're going to get into the doctrine of discovery. We're going to get into manifest destiny. We're going to talk about it. This was actual laws that they were to spread Christianity with a sword. They actually made that Christian law. We'll get into it. Continue, Mo.
Jesus himself was of the true blood of the ancient Canaanites and Moabites and the inhabitants of Africa, seeking to redeem his people in those days from the pressure of the pale-skinned nations of Europe. Rome crucified him according to their law. Then Europe had peace for a long time. until Muhammad I came upon the scene and fulfilled the works of Jesus of Nazareth. The holy teaching of Jesus was to the common people, to redeem them from under the great pressure of the hands of the unjust, that the rulers and the rich would not oppress the poor, also that the lion and lamb may lay down.
I only wanted to the first 4 verse. Islam, while you still here, give me the Quran questions for Moore's children right here, key 28. We tying it together, Moors. We tying it together.
Islam. Why did Allah send Jesus to this earth? To save the Israelites from the iron hand oppression of the pale-skinned nations of Europe who were governing a portion of Palestine at that time. Islam.
Islam. I'm sorry, Mo.
Say it together, Moors. All of
it. Islam. Matter of fact, run it back one time.
Islam. Why did Allah send Jesus to this earth? To save the Israelites from the iron hand oppression of the pale-skinned nations of Europe who were governing a portion of Palestine at that time. Islam.
So in a historical context, right? How long was the pale-skinned nations of Europe governing portions of Palestine and North Africa? How long did that happen historically? It was about 800 years, Moors. So before the lifespan of Jesus, the Europeans was ruling in North Africa. And centuries after, they were ruling North Africa. So you see in chapter 46, that it was Muhammad. It wasn't until the coming of Muhammad I that the pale-skinned nations of Europe, who were cruel and unjust and ruling over the inhabitants of Northeast, North, and Northwest Africa, were defeated and expelled from the land. It was under Muhammad. And again, it's through this diplomacy. Islam, I'm going to call you back in a second. Well, you just get your degrees over there. I'm going to read it for a second. So diplomacy was the method that he utilized predominantly to unite the various tribes throughout North Africa that lead to 711 AD and the invasion into what they call Spain today. All right? So here's another example of him practicing shura, him consulting, pardoning, etc., etc. There was a man by the name of Muaz bin Jabal, M-U-A-Z bin Jabal. He was a companion of the Prophet and known as an amazing scholar in Islam. He was made the governor or Bey of Yemen and became an authority of the teachings of Islam through the Prophet. He was also able to make independent decisions, or whether it was, like say the Quran didn't clearly define the issue, he was able to make decisions based upon, his authority as that ruler or that governor or Bey. Now, example of him pardoning, right? There was a man named Umar Khattab, K-H-A-T-T-A-B. He was an alcoholic, and he was against the teachings of Islam initially. He became the second caliph. It was the first to expand the territories of Muslims under Christian control after the Prophet. A man who was against him initially, the Prophet saw redemption in him, and through his wisdom, he became the leader of the Islamic world, the Caliph. So the Prophet Muhammad, he did all he could to avoid violent conflict, and he invited all to follow in the way of Islam. But there was no compulsion, even within the Quran itself. I'm not going to get the verse in the interest of time, but there's no compulsion in Islam. You can't force somebody to convert according to the law as laid down by the Prophet Muhammad. Okay? But we can get into historical context of that and invite it in the way to follow Islam. So for those that refuse, because there were people who said, nah, we ain't following Islam. So what was the condition of those people under Islamic rule? Well, for those that refused, it was the institution of what was called the Zimmi or the Dhimmi agreement. Okay? So this law was instituted by the Prophet and it was created for non-Muslims living in Islamic territories.
That's right.
The word translates literally to mean protected person. So those are, for my constitutionalists out there, those that study the United States Constitution, you have certain protected class of citizens, right? Civil Rights Act, etc. is certain protections that you are afforded, or certain protected classes, right? Minorities within American society, right? They can't discriminate against you based on your divine creed, your religious creed, right? Your race, right? Various other categories. So there were people who fell in. So this is centuries before the advent of American society.
Islam.
This was in Islam. That certain people who refused to follow Islam were considered protected persons. This law protected their property, their persons, their family, and their religious freedom. Now, I'm not quoting from the Quran to explain this to you. A historian, you could Google and research this yourself. The Dhimmi Agreement. Non-partisan, I'm not sure, is it secular or non-secular? I always get those terms confused, but a non-religious person could look into the historical record and say, yep, yeah, the Dhimmi Agreement, this is what it said. This is a historical document. A part of a historical document. So this law protected property, the person, and their religious freedom, meaning you didn't have to be a Muslim living in an Islamic nation, living under Islamic rule. You didn't have to be a Muslim. But I thought Islam was spread through the sword, man.
What they say, man?
Wasn't it, pale Arabs went into North Africa and they conquered everybody. The Mandingos, everyone, and they made them Muslims. And that's why so much of North and West Africa is Muslim today, because some pale Arabs from a small little region, a minority group, came in that North Africa and conquered everyone. With no super technology or nothing like that. They just had swords. Basic armaments. And we were so weak that we got conquered and followed Islam. That's really what happened, boss?
Nope.
Come on, man. This is something that was fabricated by Western historians.
Islam.
By European Christians.
See, that's right.
To dissuade you from following your ancestors. So in Islam, oh, no doubt, I thought you had a question. So Islam. So what was the catch-22 then, right? They're getting all of this living in Islamic society. What did Muslims require of them? Okay, let's go. Because we even had a debate a few months back, and this was a topic of discussion. So let's talk about it.
What's the thing about that?
Yeah, Islam. So in exchange, non-Muslims, had to pledge their loyalty to the state. Right? Now is that something that's bad? Right? If you go outside right now and you hop into your car and you gotta pull out a driver's license, or if you're trying to travel out of the country and you gotta pull out a passport, or if you wanna apply for a job, they wanna see your high school diploma, they wanna see certain documentation, that is under the what you call tacit agreement, meaning you don't have to say it, that your allegiance is to the United States of America. That's the understanding. So whatever government you living under, ain't nobody gonna let you live in their land, reap all the benefits of citizenship, and not pledge your allegiance to that nation. That you could just ally yourself with foreign powers the second you feel like you want to. Who does that? You show me somewhere in the world. I'll wait. So that was the one condition. The second condition, which the Israelites that we had a discussion with took issue with, was that they had to pay a special tax called the jizya tax. But here's the kicker that I didn't get the chance because it was so confined in time. Non-Muslims were not required to pay zakat, which is a tax that Muslims pay. It's basically charity, but it is expected, it's a duty imposed on Muslims to pay zakat. Non-Muslims did not have to pay zakat because that is part of the pillars of Islam. You can't be compulsed in following Islam, and if Islam says you got to pay zakat and you're not Islamic, you don't got to pay zakat according to this. Right? So you have to pay this tax, which what government on planet Earth doesn't have a tax for citizens? Zero. Nada. None. You are expected as a citizen, as a duty of citizenship, to pay tax to your government. That's everywhere in the world. That's all throughout global history. Why is that the case? Because all governments require taxes because that is where they get their finances from. Government's money is generated through taxes collected. The revenue of government is generated through taxes collected. That's how governments function. That's how we have highways. That's how we have maintenance on those highways. That's how we have public schools. That's how we have what you call Social Security and various different health insurance programs, et cetera, et cetera. It's derived through taxation. See, Moors follow and obey the Constitution. We ain't against taxes. Even as a member of the Moorish Sons of America, as a citizen under the government the Prophet erected, you gotta pay dues, which is a tax.
Islam.
Right? Even when you were part of the Christian church, they got tithes, it's a tax. The Israelites do it too. But see, again, as the Grand Sheik said, we suspend logic and reason when it comes to religion. That's why I'm taking the angle that I'm taking. I'm taking the spookism out of it. I'm not going to sit here and quote verse after verse after verse. All right? This is something you can verify historically what I'm saying. You don't have to take my word for it.
Islam.
All right? You don't have to read a holy book to get this information. Okay? So dhimmis were also largely exempt from Muslim obligations. Right? Conversely, under Christianity, you were enslaved. All your property, your women, your children became spoils of war unless you converted. Oh, Sheik Amir, he's making that up. It's called the doctrine of discovery, people. It's called the Inter Cartera Bull, or Bulla, 1493, 1 year after Christopher Columbus set sail. This was the law that they utilized to steal the entire Western Hemisphere. If you weren't Christian, by the time they got there, and you ain't convert, then you became enslaved. You became killed. Your women were enslaved. Your children were enslaved. And all your property and valuables were taken. This was the law issued by Pope Alexander VI in the year 1493. All information I'm giving you, you don't have to Google Pope Alexander VI, Google Catera and Terra Bulla, Google Doctrine of Discovery. All this is going to lead you to the same information. This is 2020. We're in the age of Aquarius, so you don't have to take nobody's word for nothing. Islam? So just because I call myself Sheik don't mean you got to respect what I'm saying. Look it up. Do the knowledge. As the Prophet was alleged to have said, study, study, study.
Islam. That's right. I'm studying close.
That way you don't got to take a man's word. You will know how like he know. So communities under Islamic rule, non-Muslims that had communities under Islamic rule were governed under their own laws. All right? So a historical example of this would be in Medina. The Israelites or the Jews had their own courts.
That's right.
In Islamic territory. They had their courts separate from Islamic courts, separate from the government, their own government courts, called the halakhic courts. Halakhic courts. Okay? So these brothers over here debating us when they had their own authority to govern themselves. When prior to the coming of Prophet Mohammed, you didn't. You were under Roman rule. You could not practice your way of life. Let me show you how much freedom. This is Muhammad as a political leader, okay? Not as a spiritual leader. Because if he was just a spiritual leader, he would have prohibited this.
Right.
Dhimmis were allowed, let me finish on my last point on the halakhic courts. Exceptions would be capital offenses, right? Like a murder, for example. May not be tried, thank you, Mo, could you get that for me? May not be tried in courts of these communities. They would be tried in the state courts, right? But dhimmis were even permitted to practice things that were considered haram to Muslims, such as drinking alcohol and or eating pork. So that's how real it was under Islam. You could do things that Muslims weren't allowed to do just by saying, I'm not a Muslim. Here's your tax. Like, you was going to pay a tax anyway. If you're a Muslim, you're paying zakat. If you're a non-Muslim, then you're paying, what's that, the zizya or something like that? But the tax I had referenced earlier, jizya. So if you weren't under Islamic rule, and you were under Christian rule, or you were under Persian rule, or you were under some other rule, guess what? You would have been paying the tax anyway. And you probably still couldn't, because mind you, you're not going to find earlier examples than the Prophet Muhammad with this freedom of religion. Other nations didn't do that. Like if you ain't with this, then you are an outsider. You can't benefit. You can't attain rank and prestige within our society. But this was not the case under Islamic rule, right? So I'm gonna, just in the interest of time, because I'm gonna close out with the Grand Sheik providing. But I implore you more to continue to do your research on some of the things that I just stated. There was also, so mind you, he negotiated treaties. The Treaty of Hudaybiyah, I'll spell it, Hudaybiyah. So, little historical context, you know, Prophet Muhammad was right out of Mecca, but he was able to establish a foothold in the city-state of Medina, which later became a city-state of Medina under his authority. And so the city-state of Medina was at war with the city-state of Mecca. Right? So Prophet Muhammad was perceived as a rebel, and so conflict ensued because he's trying to spread Islam in the land and they ain't with it. They're polytheists. So there was no longer a war once this treaty was negotiated between the polytheists and the Muslims. This is the Prophet Muhammad as a diplomat. Okay? Not just somebody quoting verses and if you don't believe, I have no value to you. This is somebody who don't even have to believe in what you believe. His influence was so profound that after the war ended between the polytheists and the Muslims, many of the tribal leaders wound up converting to Islam.
Working.
So Western historians and those whose religion has a lot of Christian influence depict Islam as oppressive or spread by the sword, but we've given examples. It was diplomacy. This is how the warring tribes throughout Arabia became united. It wasn't Muhammad saying, all right, well, I got Islam, I got my squad with me, and you're going to have to get down and lay down. That wasn't what transpired historically. All right, not religiously, historically. Although the events are recorded in the Quran, there are also extra Quranic sources that you could consult to verify the authenticity of what is written in the Quran. So prior to the Prophet, these tribes were at war. After Muhammad, the entire region was united and no longer conflict. And this was the springboard that allowed Islam to sweep throughout the coast of North Africa in the span of less than 60 years and led to 711 AD. So people like Tariq ibn Zayed, you know, Muhammad, what was it, Muhammad II, you know, the fall of Constantinople and what have you. None of these events would have been able to transpire. The Prophet Noble Dwali, many great people stem from this man and the works that he did. Right? He even established and created the Constitution of Medina. And it regulated the interaction between the tribes, and it was satisfactory to all parties involved. That's how the conflict ended. He negotiated terms between enemies.
That's right.
In order to bring about Islam, which means peace. So it wasn't just a token term. It was something that's implemented throughout the Quran and implemented throughout Islamic history, particularly during the time of the Prophet Muhammad. He set the example. So he sent ambassadors to teach Islam. He didn't force conversion. It was simply an invitation. And we already see the other hand with Christianity. All right? So you can just look at the Doctrine of Discovery. You can look at the Reconquista. You can look at the Inquisition. And you could Christian black codes. The list goes on and on. All right? But you're not going to find, at least in Islam in its purest form during the time of the Prophet, these examples of where people saying Islam is being spread through the sword. In many centuries, Islam has brought a lot to the humanity, but if it wasn't for the Prophet Muhammad, this wouldn't be possible. So I'm gonna have Brother Jason close us out. Just read a couple paragraphs or something like that, unless the branch has a specific part. You can read the first couple paragraphs. Islam. Okay. So he's going to read some excerpts from one of the treaties that we referenced. And real quick, this is an Arab woman right here. So we're going to put that in the picture. But look how dark-skinned and woolly-haired this sister is. Arab woman.
Text of the covenant of the Prophet Mohammed with the monks of Mount Sinai. This is a letter which was issued by Muhammad ibn Abdullah, the messenger, the prophet, the faithful, who is sent to all the people as a trust on the part of God to all his creatures, that they may have no plea against God hereafter. Verily, God is the mighty, the wise. This letter is directed to the embracers of Islam as a covenant given to the followers of Nazarene in the east and west, the far and near, the Arabs and foreigners, the known and the unknown. This letter contains...
Hold that right there. So that part that he just read, where he said, repeat that part, where it's the foreigners, the known and the unknown.
The far and the near, the Arabs and foreigners, the known and the unknown.
So stop right. Actually, even going a little further. Followers of Nazarene in the east and the west. These are Israelites that he's talking about. Okay? And he says that not just the Arabs, but other foreigners, known and unknown, meaning people in the future, which it did extend to Hindus and various other groups of people that are not listed in this particular document. Islam?
This letter contains the oath given unto them, and he who disobeys that which is therein will be considered a disobeyer and a transgressor to that whereunto he is commanded. He will be regarded as one who has corrupted the oath of God.
Stop right there. We're going to leave it off right there. But as you can see, the Prophet Muhammad created a treaty, so if you're a foreigner or somebody like that, you realize you're going to be treated a certain kind of way, and according to the law, anybody who doesn't follow that, so I found a historical example right here that people did this and instead of doing that. He read right there what you are if you don't obey this law. You understand me? So even if you find people who break in the law, understand that that's not Islam. What he's reading is Islam, issued through the Prophet. So regardless of what your religion was or your way of life, under Islam you had the freedom to choose. Just as we do today under the First Amendment. But we're talking about the 600s. All right, the First Amendment is in the 1780s, 90s. The Bill of Rights, something like 1790 something?
Yeah, 1790.
So that's over 1,000 years later, before the Western Christian world started to allow freedom of religion. Before the United States of America became that beacon. It was the Prophet Muhammad. It was the Caliphate of Islam that first embraced on a large scale across continents freedom of religion. And with that, Moors, we all have to close out, so I'll see Islam in peace.
Peace.